New today, the Mississippi Emergency Management Agency is working with FEMA and local partners to open 6 disaster recovery centers and 7 disaster survivor assistance sites to help storm victims. Here's how it works. This is an effort to assist residents impacted by the January 23rd through 27th winter ice storm. Residents can get in-person FEMA registration information on available assistance and referrals to recovery resources. DSA teams are expected to stay about 1 week per location, while DRCs will remain open longer depending on demand. Additional DSA locations are expected to open in the coming weeks. Now take a look at your screen. Here's a list of the counties that are opening disaster recovery centers and disaster survivor assistance sites. They will open at noon Monday, April 27th. You can view the full list with addresses on our website at WLBT.com.